Get all of your Alien and Predator figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description down below. Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Kaiju, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors. It's Steven here, and I'm going to bring you a sequel to my Alien Day review of the Figma Alien and bring you a review of the Figma Predator that is sculpted by Takayuki Takeya. That's right, we have one of the most prolific monster sculptors alive to finally get his hands on the Predator franchise. And wow, this thing looks very, very cool. Nice accessories, nice packaging, the whole 9 yards. And for something that's going to be about, what is it, $80? Yeah, this is a surefire. Wait, $160 in the US MSRP? What the? What? All right, let's take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding to your collection. Oh, that's a good joke. That's a good joke. Anyway, talking about how the actual figure looks here, they did a relatively rock solid job to make sure that the armor looked very ancient and stylistic here. The City Hunter, I think, looks very stylized to a great point. He looks like a true warrior. Now, some of the production issues that come with making a figure at the mass-produced scale, such as seam lines for some of the swappable parts, specifically for the lower jaw parts, yeah, not necessarily the best, but the different swirlings in the armor that Takeya decided to add to this overall release that makes it a little bit more ancient, if you will, really, truly did pay off. And some of the silver paint that's used for the dreadlocks and whatnot, they look fine as well, because those little beads, they don't look out of place. We have instances of paint shading, such as the black on the head, which looks phenomenal. Also, some smaller parts like blue on the upper bicep area, which, oh wow, that is something you would never expect to find, and it looks great. The overall copper bronze look of the armor is amazing, with some added paint shading where needed to really enhance some of the textures. Not to mention the skin color for the Predator looking great, with a little bit of different sprays and washes here and there to bring out some of the finer details. One thing that this figure excels at is nailing the look of the City Hunter and improving on it in a stylistic way to really bring out the character that we saw not only on screen, but is etched in our minds and the minds of those to come in the future. Overall, this figure looks great. All right, so the Predator looks good, right? Well, that means it moves well. Nope. Well, okay, it does, but it doesn't. So what do we have? Well, first and foremost, on the default face, or the jaw, whatever you would prefer to call it, the mouth opens and closes on a hinge, as you saw earlier and saw me mention. So yes, we can get 2 different displays out of this one faceplate for the Predator, which is cool. Awesome. The dreads, they are actually all on joints, or at least sections of them are, and you can already see one of the issues I'm having with the Predator. Yes, so they are on joints, so this way you can move them up and down, and on the back section, they are actually on a Figma joint, and then these 2 outside portions are on swivels, so this way we can get some more movement out of those dreads, which is pretty sweet. So this way, any of the kibble on his back, we can move those out of the way, and then also move the dreads, so this way we can get more movement out of the head, which is on a ball joint. So we get some pretty good movement as is. Do take note, whenever he's got his weapons, you are going to have limited range of movement. And I think a lot of folks are going to want to keep his weapons on, so it's something to keep in mind when you're moving the Predator's head around. But we can look up by default about that far. You can even see the joint, which houses also a Figma joint in there. So there is a hinge in there working as well. And then the Predator can look about that far down. Good stuff there. Now let's go ahead and talk about the shoulders, which are kind of weird and a little troublesome. And I imagine that these are going to have some issues moving forward down the line. So where the shoulders plug into the body, they are on ball joints, which is good. We always like to have ball joints. Oh boy, that's fun. That's actually the first time it's happened when I've been moving the Predator around. So take it as you will. Anyway, so yes, we do have ball jointed movement. Now you can already see that this shoulder pad is moving around. The way that it works is that shoulder pad is actually attached in right here between one ball joint and the other on that barbell, right? And it is on a rubbery sort of plastic, which means it has a bit of elasticity to it, and you can even see the attachment there. This means that you can spin this around definitely to help make the overall scene you're going to make with your predator a bit more believable depending on how you're going to pose it, but at the same time, you can tug on this or accidentally tug on it and rip it in the future. So, yeah, the shoulder pads don't get in the way, but are they going to last forever? Probably not. Anyway, there isn't a true hinge in the shoulders. There's just another ball joint with a cutout for it, so this way you can get the predator to make a T-pose if you want. There you go. Yeah. All right. So we do have that double ball joint there, which effectively acts as a hinge and allows for a little bit extra swivel movement there. But we do have a swivel in this upper portion in the shoulder area by the sculpt, so this way that's pretty good. And then this portion here also lends itself to yet another swivel. So we get two different sorts of bicep swivels there, which does add to the overall range of movement. Now for the elbows here, it's a very interesting connection because we do have the standard hinge there, which is good, pretty decent movement, but then both of the forearms or the gauntlets are going to be plugged in on a ball joint, so we get even more movement there to allow us to have a greater range for that hinge by default. So yeah, it's not a double hinge, but it works pretty closely to one. Now for the wrists, we do have a similar interesting combination going on here. We do have a ball joint where the joint is going to plug into the gauntlet. Then we do have a hinge which can be spun around by that ball joint. And then we have a peg where the hands plug in. So realistically speaking, let's just take a quick look here over at this hand because this is the best way I can show it. We can get the predator to pose his hands in quite a few interesting ways, just by utilizing those different aspects of those joints. So don't be afraid to get creative with the predator's different hands. It's pretty cool. Now, as we continue on down, it looks like there's just sort of Marvel Legends style ab crunch here, but the way that it works is that's actually a sleeve that is covering over the joints that are in here, which are effectively ball joints, which allow you to crunch the predator down, raise him back a little bit, and twist him from side to side. We're not getting anything super duper over the top, like he's not going to be able to go ahead and well, maybe do something that's not necessarily PG, but we do get some decent range of movement out of there, and that is just fine and dandy. Really love that kind of stuff. Now, for his kilt, we'll go ahead because he's a predator. He is going to have a sort of ball joint here, which allows you to move the crotch piece around, which is cool. Or I believe it's a Figma style joint. I'm not quite sure because it wants to twist one way like this, but it doesn't want to move in the other direction for me. So it is what it is. Then back here, we do indeed have a Figma style joint for the butt flap here. So that's cool. We can get that to be raised up all the way. And then we do have two other Figma style joints here for the other flaps. So this way we can move those out of the way to help with the articulation for the hips. And man, does this figure need it. Why? They are loose. Like unacceptably loose. So we do have ball joints here, which allow for a nice range of movement. Unfortunately, backwards, it's not really going to be the case because this portion of the armor is hard plastic, so that's about as far back as they're going to go, but forward about that far, which is cool. Out to the sides, when you have everything moved out of the way, this is about what we're looking at here. Now, we do also have swivels that are built in there, which is pretty cool. We have single hinged knees, along with a little bit of a hinge here for the plating around the kneecap, so that's pretty cool. We do also, by default, have a little bit of a swivel give there, so that's pretty cool. Then for the feet, we are actually going to have a ball joint where the ankle plugs into the lower portion of the leg, which is nice. And then we have Figma-style joints from there on down. So we do have a hinge and a swivel there for where the joint plugs into the feet. Cool. And of course, we do have a toe hinge. Nice. Now, the Predator is going to have a couple of other points of articulation depending on what his loadout is going to be. So let's assume he has the combi stick back here. Well, this holster here is always going to be attached to the Predator. You don't really want to pop that off in case you break it. So that holster for the combi stick is going to be on a swivel. So this way you can spin it around. There you go. So you saw that. Now for the shoulder cannon, the mount here just kind of plugs in. And it can get in the way when you have it in and you move the Predator's head around. I've knocked this off plenty of times. So don't worry about that. It is very easy to accidentally knock off, but that means it's not going to break on you. But anyway, we do have a Figma joint there for the cannon itself. So this way we can move it like that, twist it, and that's about it. And then on his left hip, we do have a barbell style ball joint here for the holster for the knife. So that's pretty cool. It can spin around in all sorts of different directions. And yes, there is a ball joint where it plugs in there and a ball joint where it plugs into the armor. So overall, the Predator, yes, it does have some pretty nice articulation, but it's loose. Yep. He's loose and he likes to fall. So yeah. Pretty unacceptable for the price point, but the range of movement is relatively solid. All right, accessories time, and what all do we get with the Predator here? Well, folks, we get an alternate jaw part, so this way it looks like the mandibles are all folded up. We get a mask that actually comes with another jaw part. We get two types of throwing discs, one compacted, one expanded. We get an alternate set of wrist blades. We get two extension parts for the combi stick to make it look longer. We get an array of hand parts. We do get the hunting knife that he comes with. We also get the shoulder-mounted cannon that's already attached. We do get a Figma display stand with two alternate support tips, and we get a postcard which features the original design for this Predator made by Takayuki Takeya. All right, let's go ahead and talk about everything. And first, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the hands, which, if you pay close enough attention, they are not all the same color. Okay, cool. Now that we got that out of the system, what kind of hands do we get? Well, we get one set of super splayed hands. We get one set of kind of choked up splayed hands. We get left and right holding parts for the knife. We get left and right holding parts for the combi stick. And then for the right hand, we get one specific hand for each of the discs. One for the compact one and one for the expanded one. Whew. Yes, we get hands to cover the entire spectrum for all the accessories that this Predator gets. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the accessories that the Predator comes with, because he does come with quite a bit. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and take a look at that knife, because I haven't really focused in on that at all with the review up until this point. Very simple, but it has some nice detailing to it. The paint could be a little bit better. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the combi stick, and to be honest with you, it looks very, very cool. Nice tribal markings on it. The sculpt is amazing with some blue and copperish colored paints to really make it look old out and rusted. It's been through quite a few battles. We do also have the two tips to it, which look great as well, along with the paint that is used to make it look that way all the way up to the base of the combi stick. Now, like I made mention, we get two different parts here to make it long or make it short. The choice is yours. We do get the two different throwing discs, which does have amazing sculpt for both the compact and the expanded one. So yay, it looks great. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the alternate face part to make it look like the mandibles are retracted and closed up. No. No, that just looks bad. Yeah. Thankfully, he does come with the mask. Yay, that looks great. So a lot of folks are either going to be having this guy masked up, or he's just going to have the one with the mandibles all spread out that has the articulated jaw. Very cool. Now, the way that you swap everything out is you're actually going to have to remove the jaw portion of the Predator and then just slide the new one up. Now, for the mask, you do get one sort of blank jaw part, and then you just attach that first and then just pop the mask on till it clicks or you feel it click. Anyway, it looks good, and that's how you get him to wear the mask, which does have some fantastic paint detail to it, along with an amazing sculpt. Finally, for the actual accessories that we get with this Predator, he does have the two alternate wrist blade attachment parts, which are going to be long. Yep. Sculpt is pretty much the same, not a huge difference, so yeah. If you like how these look, the longer ones are going to look great as well. Now, keep in mind, these are going to be near the wrist, which you are going to constantly change hand parts. Be careful here. The way that you go ahead and pop these off is you just simply have to grip and pull. There's no other way to do it. Now, yours may be stuck like mine. I highly recommend heating them up, because if you don't, you may break them. That's the moral of the story here, folks. Use heat and be careful. Go slow. You don't want to break this on a $160 US MSRP figure. Whew, okay, yeah, now that I got that out of my system, here is a look at the postcard that you get, which actually does feature some amazing details here on how this Predator came to be in the mind of Takeya. We can see where all of the original concept went into for this guy, and he looks great. What's a bit of a bummer is it looks like there was a whip and some skulls planned for this release at some point, along with maybe some sort of cloak made out of vines. I don't know, but it does look pretty cool, and it's nice to see how the mind works to create something like this. So all in all, the accessories that we get with this Predator, I really can't think of much else aside from maybe that awesome whip and those skulls, because yeah, a Predator needs some sort of trophy. Now, if you're looking to get extra accessories or maybe some effect parts or maybe some stands, if you will, you know I have videos up for that. And to be honest, as you can clearly see in front of you, this Predator could definitely use some extra support in the effects parts department. Now we're going to go ahead and round the review off with a size comparison alongside his comrade, the Figma Alien Takayuki Takeya version. So as you can see here, these are going to scale really well with your import figures around the 5 to 6 inch mark. If you're looking to bring them into your already existing display of Predators or Aliens from, let's say, NECA, it's not going to look great. Now, I don't currently have any NECA Predators, but let me tell you, they all are huge compared to this guy. I've had Big Red, I have had Bad Blood, I have had Ahab. Yeah, this guy is pretty small. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. He looks amazing. Not gonna lie, this is a very, very unique stylized look on the City Hunter, and you know what? It paid off. The articulation is rather garbage on mine for a $160 figure. It should not be that way. The accessories are great, and to be honest, we should only have gotten some effect parts, which you can buy on your own. So yeah, scaling is a little but to be honest, they're only meant to sort of go with each other, the other one being the Figma Alien, and not with the NECA stuff, because that's what everyone's going to compare it to. That being said, this is nowhere near $160 US MSRP or 12,000 JPY at the Good Smile Company MSRP. Yeah. This ain't worth it, folks. Like, you got to be diehard for Takeya or Predator in order to think about this one. I got it just because it is exclusive. I don't think this is going to get reissued. It's an SP Figma, SP109 to be exact, which means it was a special production run. Yeah. So if you're a diehard Predator fan, yeah, sure, why not? Go ahead and get it. If you're kind of casual and you just want to get it because it's a Figma Predator, you don't need this release. I'm kind of regretting it myself. Yeah. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now you've heard a lot from me, I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.